All right. Let's share screen. All right. Can anyone see my screen?
Yeah,
I can see it.
Okay, wonderful. So basically today we're gonna go over the list of issues that have been filed on either operator lifecycle manager or operator registry repos, and I will go over the OM repo first, and then for probably in half an hour, and then we switch over to the registry side for the rest of the meeting. So today we basically just gonna go over the issue here, and we'll try to put that, decide if those issues should be addressed in the coming up on the next release, which is going to be the 0.20, or the issue will not be addressed anytime soon, and we should going to add them to the backlog. I know there's the 0.19 release that still pending. It should be done probably, hopefully in a couple of days or so. I don't know if team is in the meeting or not, but that's what's happening. And the coming up release will be the 0.20. So we'll add that to the list and then move on from there. All right. Let's get started with the first issue. This is the control runtime patch that we currently carrying on our repo. And I think the upstream fix have been merged already. If I'm not mistaken, yes, that's correct. So it's have been merged, even though I don't think we have pulled this specific this new a new release into the new control runtime release into our repo yet. So this is still not done. That is on our end. So we can add that to the next the coming up release for now. So that's all good. Okay. All right then. That's done. Move on to the next issue.
So this one is definitely just, that's how the resolver works, right? We group install plans. We could probably just point to the docs that talk about that and then close this one. Let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, okay, right here.
This is hold on, this is a little bit different because I think this is an issue from the past that have been resolved already. Maybe does he complain that he approved one install plan and this approved everything else? It seems.
Oh, he's saying that the console, when you click install or when you click approve,
correct,
approves both. Yeah, so then this is just not an open. This is just not an OLM thing.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in the past, right? Someone were asking about this before about the console box for this.
Yeah. Did we ever reach out to the console to prove this?
I thought we did, and I thought we were saying we opened an issue on the console side, right? Am I correct? I think I was asking you what's in the repo for the console.
Let me see if I can
in the past as well. Is that I cannot remember what's the console if I visit them in the past. Sadly, I don't remember.
We really don't have very many issues on there. Oh, wait, hold on.
All right. Did we create an issue on the console side?
I can't find it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. They just have thousands of issues.
It should be
I'm trying to search.
pretty recently, I think, because I think we were talking about this less than a month ago, I would say.
Did we add a link to it in the other issue on OLM that talked about the same thing?
Yeah, we're gonna add. We're gonna close this one now and reference it to the console issue instead when we create one. If you haven't found it yet, we probably haven't opened it yet, so may as well open one. All right, let's move on. We can take care of that later. All right. Oh, this is something I saw recently. So the issue is about they create a carousel with the annotation for the STO sidecar, if I'm not mistaken here. And apparently it doesn't work. It will basically failing. I'm not entirely sure why they need this annotation and what does it do exactly. I think it's trying to create this. I'm not sure if this sidecar is included. I assume in Kubernetes we're having a sidecar part running alongside. Assuming that what it does. And I'm not sure why they need a sidecar for the kernel source, maybe for some info query later on via the sidecar. That's a possibility. But for the catalog side, we create the part manually. Not manually, but we don't using deployment or anything like that. We create a part exclusively on our end. So
Presumably,
I'm not sure why the part is failing because this injection is on the catalog side.
well,
Oh,
so,
we do.
So like
we do
Istio does, right? Like Istio does like mucks with networking, right? So
that's correct.
I'm assuming
we
that
do
whatever is
carry annotation from the catalog into the part, right? I'm pretty sure we did that. We do that. We copy the annotation that you specify on the catalog into the part.
right.
That we
That's
create.
that's what his workaround is. The point is, without that annotation, he says it's crashing. I think what actually is happening is the catalog operator is trying to wire up the service and then communicate and then can't. And then it says, oh, okay. And then it's trying again. It's just doing that over and over. Right. Like, I think it's just, we're like, literally, it's just that like.
We use servers for this. So I'm not entirely sure. Because a part is, we could create a part that is separate and we're having a service to connect the part
right.
to expose the part for the gRPC query. The service will be created separately and the part will be created separately. So I'm not sure why the part itself is failing.
No, I'm assuming that this is the catalog. I'm assuming this is the catalog source controller that stands all those resources up, tries to connect to it, and then when it fails, it's retrying. And part of that retry involves recreating the pod. I assume that's what crashing means.
I mean, from what he's showing here, the part is terminating. I mean, it's never become healthy.
Right. I don't think that the pod becomes healthy until the, well.
Is it a status somewhere to say that what's happening to this part? Yes, it say here the container is never actually ready. It's like part initializing waiting and it's not ready.
Yeah, but like, look at this message. Containers
See-
with incomplete status, Istio validation.
Yeah, so as you can see there too, there's another container here, which is the SDO proxy something here. This is a sidecar part, I'm pretty sure. And it's not ready either.
Yeah, but is.
So I mean the sidecar is not ready, meaning make the entire part. And the sidecar container is not ready, make the entire part basically not ready. I'm not sure we are actually supporting this. We
I mean, we definitely
never
don't.
having this.
But obviously we
using
don't. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a problem. But this feels a little bit like a future request that we would need to figure out why,
agree.
rather than a bug.
I agree. Yeah, we never doing this sidecar, even though during the profiling work we did mention about some sidecar, but never actually doing this. All right. I would basically that we never support sidecar. Oh. I mean, for upstream, when they open the issue, it's pretty much a feature request if it's not the bugs. So we
Yeah,
just
I'm
need
just
to
it's the
remove
label. Yeah, we just need to update the labels.
this label and undo this select feature. Yep, right, wonderful. Is this something we want to do for the next release, or this gonna be a back porting? I don't think we're gonna work on this anytime soon. Is it a need for this?
Man,
No,
people
I
use
haven't.
Istio, but I don't know that we need to immediately drop
Yeah,
what
so
we're
just
doing.
put that to the backlog for now.
Yeah,
We can dig them out later if we feel like there's certain more stronger requests on this. Okay, let's move on. This is it. Oh. Okay, so this is a feature request saying that the subscription no longer need to references the catalog source info anymore. And they just basically look up at everything that available on the cluster and resolve dependency on it. This is, I mean, I think what Joe said here that the concept of subscription is to basically subscribe to something specifically to maintaining the upgradability in the future. If you just want to installing an operator only, and technically speaking, you don't need the subscription. I mean, for OLM at the moment, you can't have to get a subscription, otherwise you have to installing the operator manually. But I think Joe said here, we having a plugin to just install the operator, and it says no need the subscription for that. Would the bundle API would be helping with this?
Don't we already
Yeah, I was about to
basically
say.
for dependent operators?
Is that Joe speaking? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yes.
Don't we already kind of do this for dependent operators where we always install from the highest priority catalog source?
well, we start by preferring from the same catalog source, and then after
Right.
that, yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
based on that priority field.
But in this case, there is no such, like in the case of installing from scratch, there'd be no such thing as the same. So it would just defer to like, if we implemented this right, it would basically say like, okay, well, I'm just going to go look and find the highest priority catalog source. Well, find the highest priority catalog source that has this operator in it, and that's what I'll use. It seems like what the request is, right? Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I think we have most of the controls to do this already.
I'm still not sure that what he meant. I mean, he mentioned the subscription in here specifically. Subscription, you need the catalog sort info in there. So we are saying that we don't need the catalog sort info anymore, and they just look up at everything.
Right. Like he wants the equivalent of DNF install GCC. And
Yeah,
you
that's what I'm saying.
have to specify the repo that GCC comes from.
For the dependent operator, obviously that's work the way it is. That means it will obviously it referring the same catalog sort that the subscription subscribe to. Otherwise, it will basically look up at everything else. But for the main operator, it's always look at the catalog sort that's specified in the subscription.
I think this is basically saying, let's make the subscription catalog source optional in the spec. And if it's not set, then we'll go and basically do the same priority logic that we use for dependent operators when we choose which catalog source to use to install this operator.
So what I'm saying that we basically apply the same principle of dependent operator into the main operator as well. That no longer require a specific catalog source anymore.
How does dependent operator install work? Do we internally figure out the catalog source and then create a subscription already ready to go that way? Okay.
Yeah, it will resolve dependency. That means it will try to finding an operator that basically satisfy dependency, right? And this will referring having the priority on the catalog that this subscription subscribe to, and if it couldn't find it will go to the other catalog source, depending on the priority and stuff like that, even until it's finding the one that it needs, and it will create a subscription for it. And also it's going to references in the subscription what the catalog is belong to. So that means that even for a dependent operator, eventually in the subscription is having a specific catalog sort that is belong to as well. The issue here is that when a subscription doesn't have a catalog source, then we don't know where to upgrade that later on, if you know what I mean. Because a subscription is for upgrading, it's not necessary for installing. So what happened if that specific operator having one on one up catalog source and another one in the other catalog source, then when the upgrade time happen, where is supposed to look it to? At installation time, sure, we can ignoring where the catalog where this upgrade coming from, but during the upgrade time, it does matter.
My instinct would be that once we choose a catalog source, that's the catalog source for that subscription. Although I don't know.
I don't know how that would work, right? Then we would have to be writing to the spec.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I'm saying, like, okay, so they say, oh, we create a solution without a catalog source at first, and then after that we update the subscription to have a catalog source, and then it will be the case there. Would that be confusing? That they would say, oh,
every time you reconcile, you could say every time you reconcile the subscription, if there's not a catalog source in the spec, we'll basically redo that same logic every single time we reconcile. Theoretically, that's fine. And maybe is actually a good thing, because then if another catalog source gets added later that has a higher priority, you would probably want to switch over to that and start using it if you didn't otherwise specify. I mean, I think that's basically the behavior of yum install too, right? Like if you add a new repo and you do yum upgrade, if that other repo is now higher priority, that's what you get.
Well, I mean, sure, we having a priority concept for that reason, but at the same time, like this creates so much uncertainty that you don't know where the upgrade coming from and stuff like that. It's become a problem. The resolution in some way to make it more deterministic, and now we actually try to introduce more uncertainty into it for no reason. That's not like just because this sounds like a convenient concept, but then when it become a problem, it's actually more problematic to fix, because we open the floodgate to just let everything go loose without knowing where this specific version coming from. And basically when the upgrade happening, it gets stuck because it's gonna tell where to get the upgrade next, and then what's gonna happen.
I mean, in my mind, if you're concerned about that, then you would want to set manual approval mode, and then you go look at the subscription status and look at the catalog health and the install plan and decide if that's actually an upgrade you want. And if you don't like that, then you would probably want to go and change your subscription spec to specify the repo that you want.
Yeah, so this is another area that's a little bit problematic on the console side. When you rejecting an upgrade, it's actually uninstalling the operator.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's
yeah, so that's a problem there as well. If it's just deleting the install plan, then you're basically gonna try to figure out what's the catalog is supposed to be coming from and changing that in the subscription, and let the next install plan to be to get resolved and stuff like that. And that's fine. But the console actually doesn't work that way. It will basically uninstall the operator altogether.
I think for the sake of moving on, maybe this needs more discussion, and we can put that label in here, put it in the backlog.
Yeah, I agree. I think this can be an interesting. I mean, for the initial creation of the subscription, I can see the reason for that. But for the subsequent upgrade, then we need to know where the upgrade coming from. I can comment something on this a bit later. All right, let's move on. I think we have enough time talking about that. All right, next. All right. Interesting. So you're complaining about the switching between the manual and automatic. The issue here is the fact, I'm pretty sure the v3.1.2 install plan here was created before he switching to automatic. Because even in the manual approval, it will always create an install plan in the background and waiting for you to approve it. So if he's switching to automatic before the upgrade happening, like the late version be introduced, then it will work.
Yeah, I mean, he specifically calls out, also, I'm reasonably sure the install plan was created before step 3 above, probably between 2 and 3.
Yeah, we
so,
don't switching.
Yeah, exactly. So you're correct, is my point.
it's work as expected.
Yeah,
When it's manual, we manual until the
exactly.
next install plan. It's not meant to be the current. I can comment on this. All right, I will close it out and comment on this later. Let's move on. I think we'll read on the what's happening. This is already been the backlog. Okay, next. Well, this is tried already. Oh, this tried already. So let's not.
Yeah, I
think
think
this
now
one.
we're at the list of stuff where we looked at it last time.
All right. All right, I think we halfway through. So let's switching over to registry side. The registries tend to be not a lot of love in this. So let's give it a bit more time this time around. All right. Recently created. This is just a integration test that we would like to add back to the repo. Is there anything here to talk about this, or is it just something we want to do?
I guess, is this something we want to do? I don't know that I'm necessarily convinced that this is the right approach. Because this definitely means if we do it, that any change that goes into the registry necessarily has to work with like some specific version that's already been released of OLM, which is going to make it really hard for us to iterate. I kind of think I would rather see, if we do integration tests, for us to be able to just stand up the registry pod and query the gRPC API, rather than have them integrate with OLM specifically. Like, we can test OLM against the known versions of the registry. I think that's reasonable. But I don't know if we necessarily want to go in the other direction.
I see. So basically, you say you want to test this registry more on the independent style. Yeah, so we can pin the OM version into something, because we still need the OM to basically get. Actually, we don't. You can spin up the registry pod on its own and query gRPC directly, right? So we don't need to wait for the OM to create a pod first. Is that what we're doing for the end-to-end already? Do we? On the gRPC side?
I
Do
don't
we have
think
any tests for
I
that?
don't think we have a test that stands up the service. I think all we do is we do these sort of like we use Go test, but we actually start a database and then instrument against the
Oh.
database. And
So
then
that's more like
there's also some ETE tests that like use OPM and stand up a registry and communicate stuff. Or actually, those might be disabled, but they definitely exist.
Okay. To me, this is gonna be a backlog for now until we deciding what to do with this. We had a backlog for this. Actually, no, I'm sorry. All right, let's move on. Actually, I want to add try again. So. I don't. Okay. Yeah. Actually, hold on. Oh, I think this is the issue that we were talking in the past with Podman, but this seems like the user never responded back, because I think this is been discussed a few meetings ago. Do we want to close this out, because it seems the user no longer responding back.
At one point we had a thing that would watch issues and then mark them as stale. I think that was like some integration we had with Prow. I think it's reasonable for us to close out stuff like that, but I think we should probably have some sort of rule about like how long issues that sit like this before like they get closed.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how long. I think we consider 30 days in the past. Consider stale, right? I'm pretty sure that's the date. The rule back then. I was just gonna add the triad issue for now, and in the next meeting we can close it out because I think that should be at the over a month mark. It's only about 20 something days, so that is be for now. All right. Actually, this has been assigned to someone already. This essentially just remove these two fields from the gRPC proto with returning back that we don't need this anymore. But this is going to be a change to the gRPC API. Should we need to have some? Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to, just for a little bit of clarity, as Ben mentioned, like this same information already exists in the properties. So
Yes.
it's just a matter, I think, of, and I'm pretty sure the resolver and everything is updated to handle reading these from the properties. So I think this is just a matter of documenting that these fields are no longer used in current versions of OLM, and we can start phasing them out. I think we'll have to be careful not to use OPM serve in clusters that new OPM serve in clusters that still require these in that field, which I don't think we do anywhere, but we just need to make that obvious.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that the main thing here is how to deprecate it, and the deprecate warning that is going to be removed in the coming up release and stuff like that, because this is no longer in use for the resolver anymore. We converting owner of the provider property into I mean, owner the provide API and require into the properties field specifically. I think a dependent field is not in use either. This field is basically gone as well. Just the properties are something left, I think. Yeah, so okay, so we can. I'll comment on this later about the fact that we need to proper warning and stuff like that. Not sure what the much. I would set it to 20 for now, and we can move it to backlog if we need more time for this. It is, I would.
In my opinion, well, this is operator registry. Yeah, we're trying to do 119 really soon, so that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Oh. I think this have been fixed already. Oh,
no, that's the one. Yeah, this has been open for a bit. I think Eric was asking for reviews most of this week.
Yes. All right then. So can we get this thing in soon? Perhaps.
I think make that one 119 because Eric was asking if we could block 119 on that other PR.
All right. I think that's all good. Just need to review this PR. All right. Okay, let's move on. Actually, this is already on the 19 list. Is anyone working on this? because it's actually on the 19th. Oh, sorry. I'm not exactly sure what is the problem here. It seems to be they adding a bunch of bundle into the index.
I think it's just that some of the bundles were not pullable.
Oh,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think if the bundle is not pullable, it should having an error message for that, right?
Is it not pullable, or the fact there's like a typo?
I don't think that OPM knows the difference between those two things.
That's fair, but
Like
I'm
a
just
user
wonder-
cares, but yeah,
I'm pretty sure if it's not able to pull, it will complaining about it on the, because it should be an error there. I don't think it will be just like ignoring the bundle altogether. I don't expect to be the case because we actually
So it sounds
unpack
like-
the bundle.
Sounds like we want to try to reproduce this.
And they comment from team and also from Dan before, so I assuming the team had comment about remove a specific non-existing packet for index. Oh, he mentioned a different issue here.
When I was looking at this initially, it was definitely poor UX though. There's something in there's like a typo if I remember correctly. Yeah,
Oh,
you can see right there, Vic. Yeah.
Yeah, he missing a comma here.
oh, so there's no quote characters. So
Yeah,
this actually, yeah, this seems like maybe it's a parsing error in Cobra. Or like
yeah, that's
with
the
Cobra
library we
stuff
use.
in the CMD package.
Seems like that it ends up looking just like an argument, and we probably just don't look at arguments, or we don't care how many there are, so we just ignore that one.
Yeah, we using tag flag specifically, like this, this stuff, and then the info there, and anything after that doesn't associate with anything, we should ignore, I think. So that's the problem.
So we should probably add a Cobra check that says, here's the exact number of arguments that we expect.
Joe, do we expect something like that to make 1.19 and maybe validation of bundle inputs to be 0.20 if that's something we'd want to pursue?
If it's what I think it is, this is a one-line change. Well, it's a one-line change per command that has this problem. I would probably say put it in 120 milestone, and if we decide we want to start backporting stuff, then this is a good candidate for backporting to a 119.1. Unless we think, I don't think this blocks the minor release though.
Do we have minor release branches in the registry repository?
We can,
No,
you can
but
certainly go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
we were talking yesterday, the day before, that maybe that's something we should start doing.
Cool. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I didn't want to derail the conversation, but I was curious.
All right then. So I put it in the milestone 20 for now. And if we went to backporting, we can backport and create the past release or something for 19. If that's what we want to do.
But can we also comment what we were talking about there? The Cobra.exec args, I assume is what Joe was alluding to. We should
Yeah.
add some validation.
Yeah, definitely. I will add them later. I would like to just to move on. I should remember this. I have a few issues I need to comment on, so no big deal. All right. This seems like something we talked about before. There's some comment in the past as well. And actually did a PR for this. And this has been reviewed and everything. So it seems like the matter here just to merge the PR. I've been sitting here for about 2 weeks already. Is there a problem with this PR I'm not aware of? It seems like something we can merge and fix that for 120, right? You know, since we have been pushing it back a few times already. So we just need to merge the PR, right? Am I correct on this? Is there anything else to this? It seems so. We should need to merge the PR. All right. I put it on 20. It seems pretty straightforward. Is any further comment on this? I take the silent, let them know. All right, let's move on.
Hey, real quick, I'm wondering, it seems like that previous issue that we were talking about with the bad CLI arguments, do you think that's a good first issue?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
curious
a good point.
if we might want to assign this to Tyler.
Sure. Even though, to be completely honest, touching OPM is not as easy as you think. To understand.
Tyler, I can help you out on this one. I think it's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
But
any help is appreciated for sure. Sounds good.
Is it even on the list? What's your
It's just Tyler Slayton. No space.
it doesn't even show up here. This is spelled, is this I'm spelled it correctly?
Yeah, that's
Is it
spelled
an
correctly.
L?
Oh, there's an L. Yeah, but I don't know why I'm
Like
not showing
this?
up there.
Yeah, that's why it normally doesn't show up. I can even assign to someone who's not here. Oh my god. GitHub doesn't allow me to. I will copy and paste it over to you so you can assign to yourself. Sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's better. All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this only backlog 2020. I would try to see if we can move on something not in the backlog. Oh, it's an interesting one. This is declarative config. That's still on 116 actually.
Should we just close this one? Is
Yeah,
there
I would say
anything in
so.
here that we want to capture that's not already done?
I don't think so. Let's go through over this comment from James real quick. Is there anything here that doesn't? Oh. No, I don't think so. There's no further comment. All right then. So we're saying here this feature have been completed, and we're just gonna close the issue
I think so.
because it's
Yeah.
in the code base right now, so it's completed.
Yeah.
Did a close command actually work? Just gonna close. Again. Oh, never mind. All right then. There is anything here that is not already been in the backlog? Oh, there's a lot of things still from 2020. This actually come from the community catalog source. Is this something? It's been decided Kevin actually. I think this should be resolved. We had the
quite
prune
old.
command, right? I'm sorry, Kevin.
Sorry, yeah, this looks quite old. I don't know. I don't remember getting assigned.
Then aside to you apparently. It seems like this is just probably some, stranded bundle, like stale bundle that no longer connecting to anything anymore. And this is we do the automatically prune command nowadays, right? When you add a bundle, we do the pruning automatically in the background to remove stranded bundle. So that means this problem probably no longer exists anymore. I mean, already been solved. I actually want to close this because it doesn't seem like it exists anymore. I'm not seeing it close this.
Ooh, did you see Tim's issue request for 675?
I'm sorry, what's the number again?
675.
675. This one?
Yeah, yeah, you got it. I think I marked that. Yeah, there's a mirror of a downstream PR. Okay, so somebody opened a PR for this. So I want to make sure we can get some reviews on this. If people are trying to open PRs for good first issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'm not sure why I'm doing this. All right. The UI is so much better now. All right. Yeah, absolutely. We can use that for the index remove.
So for some context, I tried to tackle this when I had joined the team initially, and there's some paths that we didn't want to explore. So I think a warning note is appropriate. But if anyone has the time, this is probably a good quick review.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's assign this to the 20 so we can actively working on this instead of in the backlog. And we can
I'm
get
just
this
gonna ask,
rolling.
should this not be an error?
The what? I'm sorry.
I actually just reviewed the PR and asked the same question.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, should we, rather than, I mean, just making sure you agree, Kevin, but should this also, should like we exit with a non-zero error?
I think we should. Like, I don't know that I see a point to. Most of the time, OPM gets run in a pipeline, and nobody looks at those logs unless something returns a non-zero exit code. So, it feels to me like we should return an error there and explicitly say, "Hey, you did a thing that doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. I guess people can reviewing that PR and get that thing merged. All right, I think we have time for one more issue here. Is anyone having a particular issue they want to talk about, perhaps?
Did we want to sneak in another repository with 4 minutes? That might be overkill.
I do think there's one issue. I did just quickly take a peek at API. It looks like somebody opened an issue this week.
Yeah, we can take a look into that real quick. I mean, any issue we can talk about is always good. So let's not
This one looks
worry
like it
about
should
what.
be straightforward to chat about.
Oh dear God.
But let's just look
Wow.
at the top one, I think, today.
This one, the documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we can do that. Oh, we're talking about a provider field here.
Should this be mirrored to the OLM docs repository, or is this just talking about K-explain?
I would like set this on the doc side. It's not on our on the API side. Because technically speaking, there are a lot of field in here except for for UI stuff. It doesn't impact anything to do with the OM API, anything like that. It's just for the specificator provider.
Yeah, that doc is due some overhaul too. So I just put this over to the doc repo.
Yeah, and Nick, I can assign to you. Can you move this over to the doc side, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
And just close it out when you're done with
I
it.
guess I want to make sure that what the context of this this issue, I don't think they're asking for the sake of hey, I want to know what CSV does. I think they're asking because you can put docs in a way where you should be able to use kubectl to find out what fields mean, right? So I think it's reasonable for us to not do that for the CSV API, especially given the context of what we're thinking about we should be doing with those APIs. But we should probably at least recognize if we reply to this BZ, that's what's being asked for here.
I mean, they have a link over there, right? In that sentence has pointed me to, does that link?
But he's just saying someone gave him a link that said, here's what these things mean, but maybe that stuff should be on the API itself, right? If you read that whole, read the last sentence.
Right, okay.
right? So like, I think it's fair for us to say, hey, no, we're not going to do this because we don't want to work on the CSV spec anymore. But I think we should just make sure that like we say that that's why, as opposed to just like, you don't need that.
We don't want to work on CSV spec because we are thinking about CSV less bundle at this point, or
Yeah, I think that the
Yeah.
imagination is that the new bundle spec will not have CSVs. So
okay, but that is not. There is no timeline for that yet, right?
that's totally fair. That doesn't prevent us from mentioning that. Like, what I don't want to do is I don't want to reply to this with just saying, like, hey, but there's a doc that says this. You're good. Like, yeah, he already knows about that. Why else would he have opened an issue?
Yeah, that's fair. I think at least since we don't have any timeline for the new stuff, it doesn't hurt to see what the request is over here and try. It doesn't look like it's going to be a ton of effort. That's why.
I don't think we should forego documentation because we're going to be replacing things with new types. I think we should probably create the comments here that let CodeGen pick up the descriptions and populate the descriptions in the Open API spec.
Yeah, we can certainly add comment in there similar to this to describe a few things on this specific spec section. That doesn't seem like a lot of work. Because we're having a doc on the OM side, but I don't think we have a doc on the upstream, the website. I don't think we have that, right, Anik?
Sorry, what was that?
So there's a doc here, obviously, but this is inside our repo, OM repo. I don't think we're having a doc for this on the website, do we?
Maybe I'm not explaining properly. What I'm saying is that if we add the comments to the type fields, OpenAPI Gen should suck in the descriptions. And then when you kubectl get or describe or whatever, you'll actually see those there. And you can also see it on the type in when you like inspect the CRD.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. That is on the section here on the code itself. I get it. I was just asking Nick if we have this on the website or not. That's all. It's separate from what you said, Nick. I agree with you already.
So we do
Okay.
have a doc on CSV, but that was the doc that was written by Evan like 3 or 4 years ago. That just got moved over to the doc site, which is why I said it needs a little bit of an overhaul too. But yeah, we can keep this assigned to me, and then I can get in touch with Nick to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, or at least get him to review the PR, and then I can look at making sure that the doc and the doc site is also up to date.
My suggestion for docs on the doc site should be that if we populate our docs correctly in GoDoc, then rather than copying and maintaining 2 separate places for the same thing, we should just link to like the package.go.dev definition of this type from our doc site. That way it's always, there's a source of truth for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we just need to mention that on the website. That's all. Like link it to the GoDoc website. Because I don't think we mentioned it on the website at all. Or I think Nick said it. It's a bit outdated because this doc is in our repo, not on the website. All right. So sounds good. And Nick is aside to this, and he will take care of it. So I think we have time now. We actually over 4 minutes. Okay. So I think that's it. Thank you everyone for joining. And I will see you in the next meeting. See you later. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.